mommycruise.com. Have you ever been called a cannibal? Well, I have. Placenta encapsulation is a huge thing amongst the crunchy mama community. I decided mid pregnancy that I was going to consume my placenta. Placenta encapsulation began as this Chinese medicinal thing, and science kind of fails to see the benefits of consuming your placenta. But I myself, along with millions of other moms all over the world, we totally can vouch and give credit to the fact that consuming your placenta has many, many benefits. The first thing that you're going to want to do is sanitize your sink, as that will be the place that you're going to clean out your placenta. The process of cleaning out my placenta was actually pretty fun because, hello, it's not every day that you could clean a placenta. So that was fun for me. But anyway, basically, you just gotta get rid of all the junk, meaning the blood. So just, thoroughly washing it, massaging the Cotyledons. The cotyledons basically are on the fetal side of the placenta, and what the cotyledons do is, that's where the baby would get the blood, all the nutrients, etc. Here I am draining out the blood from the umbilical cord, and this was so crazy because at one point, I don't think we got it on camera, but when I had first grabbed it and I went to kind of squeeze some blood out, it squirt all over the place. It was like a murder scene. It was so cool. This is the fetal side of the placenta, and I'm just massaging the cotyledons. It kind of looks like chunks of beef stew. It was pretty intense, but overall it was a really cool experience. Now here I am getting ready to show you the maternal side of the placenta, which is absolutely amazing because oh, it just looks so cool. Basically, it looks like the tree of life. There's so many veins, so much blood and life running through that side, and it was so crazy to actually be able to see it in person, where it's like, wow, this is what my baby was growing in, and look at these veins. It was so beautiful. I loved it, and it's such a beautiful picture, and just shows that, look at that, look at those veins, look at that tree of life. There was life, there was a beautiful little baby girl growing in there, and this is how she was getting absolutely everything that she needed. Once I got my placenta all cleaned out, the last thing to do in that step was to cut off the remaining piece of the umbilical cord. Now at this point I was just being gross and having fun. But I was filling the sack with water and saying, oh my gosh, this is how my baby looked when she was in there. Once I finished cleaning the placenta and ridding it of the blood clots and removing all the membranes and the cord and draining all the excess blood from the vessels, I began to steam my placenta. There are two types of placenta encapsulations. The first one being the raw preparation of it, and the second one being the Chinese herbal way of preparing it. I chose to do the Chinese herbal way, which is why when I steamed my placenta, which you don't do if you're doing it raw, but I steamed my placenta and I added garlic because, hello, that's nature's antibiotic, and garlic is just amazing. And I also added some peppers. I steamed my placenta for 10 minutes on each side, and I occasionally poked it with a fork to bleed it during the steaming process. Here are my empty gelatin capsules. I got way too many. I just needed one pack, as a placenta usually makes around 100 to 107 capsules, and I had 400. Once the placenta was steamed, I went on to cut my placenta into very thin strips, kind of like beef jerky. Yum! It's actually not yum, it's actually pretty disgusting. I would never eat it like it was a piece of meat and like, ooh, look at this piece of meat. You know, I wouldn't eat it like that, which is why I chose to encapsulate it and consume it that way. So here I am slicing it up, and I was actually enjoying this probably more than I should have. But it was really fun for me, you know, just because, anyway, nobody wants to hear about that. But I love the human body, and I was studying it for 4 years in high school, you know, doing all these internships and stuff like that because I wanted to be a surgeon, etc., etc. But anyway, I was just really enjoying this, okay? Thank you. So let's act like this is a cooking show, okay? Ready? So you want to get those pieces, you know, nice and thin, and you're going to want to marinate them with some ginger, and you're going to want to sprinkle them with some salt and paprika and salt to taste because that's so amazing. I have no idea what I'm saying right now, like I really don't. But it's just like, do I stay quiet during this time, you know, of just showing me cutting and slicing up my placenta, or do I just say random mambo jumbo? Mambo jumbo. Hee-haw. Look at this. Look at those beef jerky little looking slices. That is so cool. The next thing that you're going to want to do is place those strips inside of a dehydrator. But because I did not have a dehydrator, I took a different route. So basically, what you do is you get a cookie sheet, and I would line it with aluminum foil because, I mean, you use that for other things, and you don't just, ugh, like, I don't want my cookies to taste like placenta for the rest of my life. But anywho, you put them onto the tray, and you're gonna place them in the oven on the lowest setting that it can go on. You're gonna place those bad boys in there, and basically you're gonna have them in there for like 8 to 12 hours because you don't want to cook it, you want to dry it out. So here are the strips ready to be dried out. Here I am placing the strips inside of the oven, and at this point the smell was like, it wasn't a smell that was like a stink, like oh my gosh that stinks. It was more like a bitter stench. I mean, people would say that stinks, but it was more, it just uh, you know how liver tastes? That's what it smelled like, if that makes any sense. Once the strips were in the oven for about 12 hours, I took them out, and they were dried out and they were ready to be grinded. I also did not have a grinder, so what I did was I used my blender, which is actually like a milkshake smoothie blender, but you know what? It did the job. I actually had to do a bit more work, but I have to use what I have here at home, and it actually worked. Because I wasn't using a grinder, I had to pretty much stay there blending it for a long time. It took about 30 minutes to get to grind it very finely. Look at that finely ground placenta. I'm actually quite proud of that because I was using a smoothie blender, and look at how fine it looks here. The final step was placing the powder into the empty capsules. This part was quite tedious as it took me 47 minutes to do it. People have an encapsulator. It's like this cool little, it's not a machine, it's just like a cool little slot basically. It's you put all the empty capsules in there, you pour the powder over it, and it just like pretty much takes care of it in like a matter of 1 minute. And I didn't have that, so I had to just do them one by one. And I like had like cramps in my fingers. It was hilarious, but I did it in 47 minutes, and it was an experience. Look at that capsule, so professional. Once I finished up this last step, which was to place the powder into the empty capsules, I placed it in the refrigerator because it's pretty much like a food, you know? You have to keep it cool because it was a placenta, it was in your body, and because of the blood, etc., you know, there's risk of bacteria, etc., which is why you don't keep the pills for a long time and you have to consume them in a certain amount of time. Now that I've shown you and you were able to see the process of placenta encapsulation, let's speak about the benefits of actually consuming the placenta. It helps to keep baby blues and postpartum depression at bay. It increases and enriches your breast milk. You have an increase in energy, a decrease in postpartum bleeding, hallelujah, decrease in iron deficiency. It helps with sleeping disorders and having those sleepless nights. It decreases postpartum night sweats. I don't know if any of you women have had that, but I've totally had that. Also, I can vouch for the fact that it completely increased my milk supply. I usually have a great milk supply, but this time I was like having a great milk supply on steroids times on crack. And I actually got mastitis because of my placenta encapsulation, just because I just had so much milk. Like I was pumping 15 ounces after feeding my daughter for 30 minutes. Like it was ridiculous, to the point where I had to stop taking the pills for a little while. It also really helped speed up my recovery. Like the first week, I was in so much pain because I had torn, and obviously just the soreness of pushing a baby out your JJ. Overall, this was such a fun experience, and I'm totally gonna do it again for my next baby. Thank you so much for watching. If you are a mother and you're contemplating whether or not you should encapsulate your placenta, I would urge you to do it because it's so awesome. The benefits are great, and you'll feel so good that you did it. MommyCruise.com